variety of different writers, directed by a variety of different directors, and acted by a variety of different actors. Much variety here. So that's going to be really cool. And everybody worked independently on all their pieces, and so we're all going to get to see all of them for the first time. It's very magical. Very excited. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then our second half is going to be an improvised set based on our summertime theme. We have some wonderful improvisers or poolside players. I'm very excited about that. And that'll be our second half, and we'll probably have like a real quick change in there. You'll see us moving some things around in the middle. You'll know. Yeah.
Yeah, so just as always, turn off the cell phones, none of the noisy stuff. We are one night last summer. This is a one-night show, so thank you so much for being with us here our one night.
Yeah.
It's going to be a variety of tones, variety of stuff, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks you all.
Yeah. So some comedies, some tragedies, some, remember all the summers you had? It's like that. So I guess, without further ado, shall we start?
We're going to get underway. Thanks, everybody.
Let's start.
First, the word conjures up so many feelings. It signifies the beginning, and it implies the continuation. You're thinking of some of your first right now, I bet. Maybe even your first time. So I'm going to tell you about my first time. At San Diego Comic-Con! Imagine yourself surrounded by thousands of fellow nerds on a hot night in July. You're me now, just go with it. Comic-Con is a place where magical things happen. And on day one of Comic-Con 2010, you managed to get into the biggest room in the convention to see the panel for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. After which friggin' Edgar Wright invites you, and hundreds of others, to a screening of the movie. You've heard this kind of thing happens at Comic-Con, and now it is happening to you. He is there, as most of the cast, who will all hear your cheers and laughter and applause. You see Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, a movie which will become one of your favorites for the first time. It's a movie you will see again with friends, and then again with your brother and future sister-in-law, but this was the first time. And then, when the movie is over, and the curtain goes up, it's the best post-credit sequence of all time because friggin' Metric is there on the stage, and they play a 4-song set. You love Metric. This is not your first time seeing Metric, but wow, it is definitely your first sneak preview / free concert. And then, you look up, and friggin' Anna Kendrick is rocking out to Metric and mouthing the words. You can't quite believe this is really happening. Your entire sense of being a fan has shot out of your body and landed on the moon. You are watching an actress you love dance to a band you love, both of whom you just saw featured in a movie you love. More than that, you are surrounded by hundreds of people who also love all of those things, who would understand why it's so awesome. 51 weeks out of the year, you would get strange looks for talking about this. But here, a knowing smile. The fact that this moment brings you so much joy is a feature, not a bug. It's all downhill from that night. The first time you go to the moon, it's like, it's the fucking moon! The second time you go to the moon, it's like, well, I've seen that rock. And that rock is still cool, sure, but it's not Anna Kendrick dancing to Metric cool. Okay, I'm me again, you can stop being me, it's weird. It makes me kind of sad in a way to know that it's likely impossible to have a better night at Comic-Con for that one night in that Aldoa Theater. Why even keep going? Is it worthwhile to keep chasing that geeky high, knowing that nothing else could possibly compare? Maybe it's an exercise in futility that would result in net unhappiness. We place so much importance on first as a beginning that we lose sight of what they're the beginning of. A first is an act of creation, a door opening to a wide world of seconds and thirds and 47ths. And sometimes, maybe even more than I realize, those are better than the first. So maybe it's not about trying to best that first. Maybe it's about having new firsts. There are so many firsts ahead of me. My first trip to Prague, my first child, my first time actually winning a fucking game of Fortnite. Life is a series of firsts, and even when it ends, it can be the first time you die if you believe in reincarnation. Or maybe the 17th. But it will be the first time you've died as you are now. You can recontextualize anything as a first. For instance, that wasn't my first time at Comic-Con. It was my third time. But it had a firstness to it. My actual first Comic-Con was only a day. At my actual first full Comic-Con, I was riding the trolley back and forth instead of staying downtown like the cool kids. I met Joss fucking Whedon then, and this moment was so amazing, I forgot that happened first until I started writing this monologue. 2 weeks ago at Comic-Con, I returned to the Balboa Theater for the first time since that night. And I got to see the creators of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend perform my favorite song from the show. And my entire sense of being a fan did not go to the moon. It went somewhere else, because I'm a different person now than I was 8 years ago. You're still thinking of some of your firsts. You're you now, not me. In reality, you were never me. My first was an expression of one of yours. A first is an encapsulation of who we are in that moment, preserved forever in our memories. We have firsts in our pasts and firsts in our future. And in between, there's the now. And like Comic-Con, it's where magical things happen. So tonight, talk to someone you haven't met. Order a new beer. Be the person you want to look back fondly on. Tonight, make your own first.
One night in a forest, much like this one, there was a group of friends huddled around a campfire, just like we are tonight. It was cold and clear, and everyone gathered together for warmth. Okay, it didn't exactly start out like that. There's things to consider first. Fathers have terrible ideas. Don't listen to a father. Their minds have been altered by a lack of sleep. Sleep at least 8 hours a day if you can. I almost died from heat stroke on that mountain trail. My companions, just a blip on the horizon. They climbed on with toned, stupid hydrated bodies filled with water and a go-get-em spirit. The words of my father came to me. It is better to dare mighty deeds and fail spectacularly than to rank with the poor souls who neither enjoy nor suffer much. I took the biggest shit of my life and contemplated these words. We found a clearing to set up a camp in. Someone suggested we cross the river. I'm fine on this side of the river. It's dry here. My feet are mostly dry. If I take off my socks, get my feet wet, and put my socks back on, then I'll have wet socks. When shin deep in the water, I dropped my hat. It waved goodbye as it took on water, slowly sinking in the stream like an ocean liner. When recrossing the river waist deep, the words of my father came back to me, although I'm not sure why. The new spot we found to set up camp, covered in bear shit. Oh, and my socks, completely soaked. But the view of the stars was absolutely spectacular. When the THC kicked in, the universe unfolded itself to me. We camped above the tree line in clear, sharp air. Oh, and the stars seemed to shoot across the sky at millions of miles a second. My brother got high on mushrooms and nearly died wandering around naked in the cliffs of Santa Barbara. He displayed those taser bruises with pride. Dad nearly killed him for that one. The next day on the trail, someone found a severed deer leg by the river. It was cleanly cut and still looked fresh. So we took a selfie with it and got 20 likes. We haven't seen each other for a while now. Sometimes I walk to the top of the hill and look at the view. Trees look nice here.
Frenchie, Rizzo, and another girl whose name we never learned but always called Lemon Face for some reason. I wanted it to last forever, but then fate intervened and you got shipped off to Korea. I was full of hope then, a naive schoolgirl. I just moved from Australia or wherever, and I didn't think my first year at Vidal High would be so memorable, or so heartbreaking. I'll never forget that day you told me you'd been drafted. I wasn't even aware there was a war going on. That's how innocent we were in the 50s. We thought hamburgers were slimming, sunburn was a source of vitamins, and America was great. Took me to that drive-in and told me you had something you needed to say. Silly me, I thought you might be asking the question. You know the one. But no, they'd called your number and you needed to say goodbye. 2 weeks later, it was one last kiss, a puff of exhaust from your Ford Deluxe, and you were gone forever. You said you'd write, but I never got a letter. I still check the mailbox every single day. I mean, I know it's a bit ridiculous, it's been 50 years. My heart still races a bit every time I look inside that box. When the phone rings, I break into a cold sweat, thinking it might be you. I get splitting headaches, smell burning toast all the time. Perhaps some of my health problems are unrelated to my heartbreak, but I just don't know. Last summer, this is going to sound a bit funny, I dug my old leather jacket out of the closet and went to the carnival. Maybe I was looking for you, as odd as that sounds. You weren't there, of course. I don't even know if I'd still recognize you. Would you recognize me? I hope so. Danny, what happened? Did you get shot in Korea? Or did you meet someone new? Or did you just forget about me? Last summer I went to the carnival looking for you, and I plan to go again this summer. You won't be there, of course. I'll be with my husband. You remember Sonny Latieri? Sorry I didn't wait for you. 6 weeks after you left, he proposed, and well, I thought it'd be impolite to say no. If I see you, I'll ditch him by the Hall of Mirrors and meet you out back. I promise. Oh, Danny, I miss you. Sometimes, when I pine for you, I do what those girls did at Rydell all those years ago. I sing a song. Like the first summer of our loving. I'll sing a bit, then wait patiently, hoping you and the boys are off somewhere, singing the other half. I'll never stop singing, Danny. I'll never stop singing. I need to be back at that carnival. It was magic. You really fell in love with me, and all I had to do was dress kind of slutty and change my whole personality. Got in your car, a song in our hats, and flew away. Wait a minute. Is that really what happened? I got all tarted up like Salmoneo's concubine and suddenly you liked me? That's bullshit. And since when could your car fly? Why didn't it do that before? Or after? Why didn't you like me the way I was? Was I so unappealing? You'd have been lucky to get with this. Anyway, it'd have you. Guess it was all a waste of time. Hey, Sonny, get down here for dinner, you shitbird.
She told me to go away. Me, her big brother, just up and go away and don't come back. I mean, Sarah and I never really got along the best, but I guess at some point I figured that would be okay. I guess I should have known better. If there's anything I know about Sarah, it's that that girl can hold a grudge like an Eagles fan watching a Cowboys game. Or a Giants game. Or a Redskins game. She hated me for years because I pulled out all the Cracker Jack prizes from the boxes and hid them from her and her friends on her 9th birthday. And somehow I was still Mom's favorite. Sarah was a good kid, but she didn't forget anything. Not a thing. It wasn't all bad. She loved the camera I got her for Christmas in '86, a Polaroid. And she never let me forget that. She asked Mom and Dad for the same camera, but they didn't think she really wanted it. But I knew. I knew because, well, I'm the best brother. She doesn't take the best pictures. No. She was a great photographer, my sister. Real talent, actually. I remember when Sarah started drinking. She was 15. We were both at my buddy Sam's place after the last game of the season. Sam was a half football player, half student body rep, a double threat. And Sarah thought that he was the hottest thing to ever walk the earth. Sarah was a real academic type, and Sam was, well, an idiot. An idiot who couldn't pick her out of a lineup. And he made fun of her that night. You see, she wore his number to the game to try and get his attention, and he called her sad. I just laughed it off. It doesn't matter what Sam thought. Sam's a fucking moron. But I probably should have said something. Because I could have said something. Anyway, this party was bumping, and Sarah was just soaking it all up. She hadn't had a drink a day in her life, and somehow she ends up doing keg stands with guys 3 times her size. And don't get me wrong, I was very impressed at the time. I mean, wouldn't you be? That's my little sister. Look at her go. I mean, I was very proud. See, there's this whole balancing you gotta do to do a keg stands, the beer doesn't get up your nose, and half the team couldn't do it, but Sarah was flying. She was very happy in that moment. I think that was the happiest I'd ever seen her. But I should have looked harder. She was having a great time, but I should have looked harder. I knew my little sister better than that. No, I know my little sister better than that. My sister, the overachiever. My sister, the overlooked. In the 3 years that Sarah was around after college, I had to pick her up from bars exactly 22 times. I guess that high school was a more impressionable time for some people than I anticipated, especially for those who never thought that they were good enough. It's all harmless at first. It's just fun and stupidity, but it can't stay that way. We grow up, we get older, and we slow down, or we stop. Most of us do. Most of us except Sarah. She didn't slow down, she never stopped. Those few cake stands at Sam's turned into dozens in college, and those dozens in college turned into countless shots at bars, and bars became Sarah's domain. She felt good there, accepted, comfortable. And bartenders began to know me because I was that drunk guy who had to pick up the girl that's been drawing on the walls again. Every night, she'd be sitting on the curb after last call, just waiting, alone, looking like the happiest person in the world and the saddest person in the world collided and for a brief moment created her. It was heartbreaking. The last time, she didn't even recognize me. She looked me straight in the face and told me to go away. And I shouldn't have come in the first place. Me, her big brother, who was just trying to help her again for the millionth time. So I did. I turned around, I got my Camry, and I drove off. And I left her there outside the bar alone at night. The next day, the bartender gave me this. He said she took. I haven't seen her in 5 years, so I haven't had the opportunity to give it back. I think she's in Oregon with her boyfriend or something, someone named Clive or Ned, something pretentious, I don't know. She doesn't call or doesn't. But yeah, man. She was a great photographer, wasn't she? Who are you? I'm sorry, you scared me. I was traveling through the dark and found myself here. I did not know you were here, and I didn't mean to frighten you. It was you who frightened me, honest. Why are you hiding? I mean no harm. Can you hear me? Stupid thing, I'm talking right at you. Am I invisible? You're still shivering, and there's no one else here. You're the first I've seen in so long, and now that I see you with tears and terror on your face, it makes me glad to be where I am. You fear so much and know so little. You are insignificant to the cosmos, but at the center of your own world, full of illusion. I know that now. No more tears? You see that I am vapor and would pass right through you, and you are also fleshy. All of that flesh. Was I really made of so much myself? I miss the feeling of my fingers and my hands. The way my palms would rub together, firm and soft. I remember the textures and the way they felt on my skin. I feel none of that now. Excuse me! Did I give you permission to touch me? You're so entitled, your entire kind. There. Woo! You feel that, don't ya? Woo! Ooh! You scared now? Woo! Look what you made me do. I hate haunting. It makes me depressed. This world makes me depressed. So many memories and nothing is the same. Everything has moved on. A ghost of itself. I must be going. There's an infinity of things to see. Please clean yourself.
Saturday again. Saturday. You know, that day that everyone longs for throughout the week. It's just a day, right? It's just a day that everyone, it's just like the Hilltop Day to Wednesday. And it gets no recognition. It's just like, hey, you wanna go party up on Tuesday? It's gonna be radical and stuff. It's gonna be like one of those protest marches or something. Tuesday just sits and waits. Just waits for Becky to call and be like, hey, you know? Right? Just sits there and waits for someone to come and snatch it up. It's like the last pickle in the jar. It's just waiting for someone to come and pick it up and give it purpose. I just want someone who understands what it's like to be a pickle at the bottom of the jar. And it's the last pickle. And with all the other pickles are like that with drinks and olives. And they're like on like the little skewers, you know? and they're with their little friends that look like little planks that their little cocktail friends just kind of walk on and just join in on this delicious medley of goodness and like a condiment pirate ship of goodness. This pickle is the best pickle, right? It's the best one because it's like the last pickle, and no one wanted it. Becky didn't want it. Becky wanted Brad. Brad was the best pickle. Brad didn't like casinos or comic books or airplanes. Who doesn't like airplanes? They're clearly the superior form of transportation. Right? Right? You understand me. You understand me. You get it. You get me. You clearly understand. You don't care if I don't have a car. Or you don't care if my apartment might have a mosquito problem. They only come out in the summertime anyway. And their nest is like super far back porch. You get it? You get me? You and me? We're good. We don't need anyone. You understand. You understand. You don't care. You don't care if I don't have a six-figure whatever salary or a fucking house in Yukon, whatever. You like me. I love you. You're never gonna let me down. Woo! Pickles are stupid anyway.
You have a very nice office. It's very neat. Look, I've always said people probably shouldn't trust me, so this whole hair checklist thing, I mean, we have no new information. We could have gone over the upcoming plans for the tour instead of going over something that we already fucking know. I mean, come on, if it brings Mary peace of mind, fine, but they know. My lyrics are gleeful descriptions of murdering people, and they love it. I mean, Karen's always scrambling to arrange these intricate little things that just capture the madness of someone like me. Karen was against this too. I mean, she likes me. But Mary threatened to quit the band, so whatever, it's fine. I'll just lodge this whole thing away into my brain and I'll just wait until I can use it. I mean, that's all I do. I don't kill people, I just collect information on them. You know, just little tidbits like, I don't know, tics, fears, desires. And then I just wait until I can use it. Nothing bad, right? I mean, come on, Mary acts like she never trusted me, but she basically handed me her cousin Spencer on a platter. I mean, the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, "Oh, Mary said to be careful around you." Come on, that's a dare. You don't swat at a hornet's nest and expect not to get stung. I mean, he wanted to be seen as this deep, thoughtful badass, but when Spencer drank, I mean, a whole new Spencer. Jesus Christ. I must have sat for hours listening to him talk about his trials and his tribulations. I mean, yeah, he thought we were bonding, but I was just building a dossier on this kid. Rich kid from Philly, hated his dad, hated his absent mom, you know? I just couldn't listen to him unload anymore about how his mom had just ruined women for him. So one night while we're sitting at the bar, he's talking about how some ex-girlfriend of his was way too sweet for him. And I told him I was bored with him, and I sat and left while he was, you know, sitting there trying not to cry. Come on. And then he called me every single day in tears, begging to know what had happened. And then he showed up at my hotel room in tears, threatening to kill himself. So I drove him to the ER, and he was in tears on the way to the ER. I mean, this kid must have drank a lot of water. But I'm just sitting there and I'm reminding myself, all right, listen, Alice, he might actually do it. And if he does, everyone's gonna sit there and go, da-da-da-da, you should have done something. Whatever. Nurse said I was nice. Mary didn't think so. I think that's when it sat in for Mary that I was a full-on sociopath. So I wrote this sweet little song, just to fuck with Mary. I studied a whole bunch of classic breakup songs, struck together this sweet little thing called Set Afire. I mean, listen to it. It's so good. It's so typical weepy breakup song. And every single time we play it, everyone's just sitting there and they think I'm a fucking god. But this thing was a science experiment so I could fuck with my bandmate. And everyone's like, oh my god, this is so relatable. I mean, whatever. Mary doesn't want to talk to me, which is fine because I prefer it. And Karen looks at me a little different now, but come on, guys. We got a fucking hit. I mean, every single time we play this song, everyone's up there and they're looking at my bravery and they're crying, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, it's so fucking good. Oh, fucking God. Alice Brandt, God of emotions. You know what? I think I'll write an album of weepy ass breakup songs. Call it God of Emotions, and then dedicate it to Mary and Spencer. Too cool. Sorry, Doc. Well, like I said, you probably shouldn't trust me. Probably. You can if you want to. Just, you know, be careful of me. Alright, is that all? Can I go?
Everybody has thought about what kind of superhero you want to be. I mean, you've thought about, would you be the flying kind, or would you be the kind that shoots lasers out of your eyes? Maybe you would be the kind that just goes invisible. But how many of you have actually thought about what kind of god you would be? I mean, would you be the burning bush prophecy type? Lead somebody on to some great thing? Or would you be the type of god that just made the platypus? I mean, I know what kind of god I would be, because I was that god for 5 minutes one summer in 1998. I was sitting on my father's front porch, just probably talking to a friend. I can't really remember who I was talking to, but it was about some kind of teenage tragedy, blah, 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 everything's the worst, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, can you believe he said that to me? Oh my God, I absolutely love love the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet, and Titanic is the saddest movie I ever saw in my whole life, and I think I'm going to take up swing dancing. Probably is amounting to what I said, but what I was doing was watching this highway of ants as they marched between some distant food source and their anthill close by. And as I watched them, I slowly and very delicately and carefully picked out and squished just one ant. I looked at it, and I watched as one or two close by neighbors sort of turned and looked and was like, oh, what's going on there? And I smashed them too. And then like a bunch more came over and was like, oh no, what's happening? And I smashed them. And then a bunch of their compatriots came by, they ran from the hill, and was like, oh no, there's a tragedy. And I smashed them. And then more came, and the circle of tragedy just built ever outward until it was mass hysteria crowding around a size 7.5 flip-flop size horror. That's when I stopped, because that's how big my flip-flop was. It was as much smashing as I could do. And I thought about what were they thinking? Those ants on the edges of this massacre. Were they looking up at me thinking, what kind of god of destruction would do this? What have I done? Have I not fed the queen enough? Do I not dig deep enough into the earth for her children? I thought about that stately 6 o'clock ant newsman looking into the camera and saying all of the things that he would say with just that little bit of shake in his voice, but not a lot, just enough so that you knew he was emotional but a professional. I thought about the telethon that went on that night just to give everybody something to do and to think about. I mean, the ant version of Candle in the Wind was very popular for 2 years. And I thought about the cults that would rise up out of this, like either praising the destructive god or praying for a new god to destroy the old god, or thinking about the different sorts of conspiracy theories that would come up. The ants who were not in the sun that day, and how they would blame everybody and say, no, what you're saying isn't true, you're just doing it to scare everyone. We don't even know any of the ants who died. We're thinking about all of the scientists who said, well, it's because of overcrowded and overpopulation, or the politicians who said, well, it's because everybody wants to move to a new mound and they're just trying to scare us. Or all the artists who created so many beautiful pieces of artwork. I mean, it was really a golden age of content creation at that particular mound. But I mean, I didn't think of myself as that kind of person. I'm the let live type. I wasn't the kind that would run at pigeons to scare them off so they would fly around. I wasn't the kind that would walk up to somebody and push them real hard and say, boo. I didn't pull cats' tails